Thank you, President Gordon in absentia. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our student speaker, Mouhamed Yazan Abou-Ismail. Yazan was born in Syria and grew up in Canada, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. He graduated from Al-Mawakib High School in the UAE with the President's Shield of highest academic distinction. He joined the pre-medical program at Weill Cornell in 2008 and since then has devoted tireless efforts into building the community and enhancing student life at Weill Cornell. Thank you, Yazan. Yazan has previously served as the president of the student government, the Medical Student Executive Council, and has been a member for 5 consecutive years. During that time, Yazan co-founded the annual Student Award ceremony that recognizes students who excel in extracurriculars, the annual Golden Stethoscope Awards. These awards are given to leaders, artists, and athletes. Yazan believes that such skills are deemed valuable for the college, for the student body, and for the students' future as they pursue their careers as physicians. Yazan has also worked on several research projects, including a 2-month research project on the signaling pathways in esophageal cancer, as well as a project on stem cell differentiation here in the research labs in Qatar. In his spare time, Yazan is also a musician, composing and performing regularly in public campus events. He also has a passion for filmmaking and illustration and has utilized his talents in the medical context by creating medical film projects on pertinent health issues. He will be joining Rochester General Hospital for training in internal medicine for 3 years, after pursue fellowship in hematology and oncology, and then subspecialize in the field of bone marrow transplantation and stem cell therapy. Yazan?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Dean Sheikh, for your kind words. It gives me great honor to speak today on behalf of my class of 2014, to such a fine audience. Thank you for this true privilege. I would like to welcome you all, Dean Glimcher, Dean Emeritus Gatto, Dean Sheikh, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, families and friends, to the commencement ceremony of the class of 2014. We would not be here today had it not been for the tireless efforts and dedication of all those who made this day possible. His Highness Sumu Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Amiru Dawlati Qatar, under whose leadership the historic vision of Education City continues. His Highness Sumu Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, Al Amir Al Walid, Her Highness Sumu Sheikh Amoza bint Nasser Al Misnad. Thank you to Qatar Foundation for helping to shape one of the Middle East region's finest academic institutions. Thank you to the faculty and staff of Weill Cornell Medical College in Qatar and in New York for believing in us and supporting us along our journey. Thank you to the dedicated physicians at Hamad Medical Corporation and New York Presbyterian Hospital for helping us transform from students into clinicians. And last but not least, thank you to our families and friends. Your unconditional support has enabled us to soar with our dreams and transform them into realities. A wise man once said, "Give me hope, and I shall fetch the globe in a spider web. Render me hopeless, and that spider web shall become my noose." The melody of hope echoes from deep within our hearts and inspires us even in the most difficult of times. Its absence can disable individuals, communities, and nations. All religions and ancient civilizations advise us to be hopeful and optimistic. Yet, in this age, we have foregone our optimism for pessimism. We have foregone hope for cynicism, creating societies that are scared of wishing for the best and are ashamed of believing in the intangible. These qualities are necessary in the leaders of tomorrow as they try to alter the reality of a world plagued by poverty, hunger, and despair. As I woke up this morning preparing for graduation, I asked myself, how do I feel? Do I feel happy? Do I feel sad? Perhaps a bit relieved? Predominantly, I felt hopeful. Why? Well, today, 34 young men and women become medical doctors and begin their journeys as physicians, teachers, and members of the research community. Today, a 6-year journey comes to an end, and a lifetime of commitment to excellence, perseverance, and service begins. Today marks the culmination of the joint efforts of multiple prestigious academic and healthcare institutions, 34 aspiring doctors and their loved ones. So yes, for all these reasons, I do feel hopeful that perhaps a tide of positive change is upon us, and perhaps this institution and its members will be part of it. In the year 2008, a group of high school students took part in a voluntary social experiment called medical school. The inclusion criteria were simple. They had to be good test takers, they had to have some kind of drive to help others, and they had to be just a little insane. The exclusion criteria, simply anybody with a social life was immediately excluded. The primary endpoint, finally, was survival rates. During those 6 years, the volunteers were subjected to enormous amounts of work, pressure, and stress. They were put through substantial challenges, such as the USMLE exam. Luckily, many of them didn't know about it, or they wouldn't have volunteered in the first place. By the end of the 6 years, and against all the laws of probability, not only did all of the volunteers survive medical school, but also every single one of them matched at the career of his or her choice, including internal medicine, general surgery, pediatrics, ophthalmology, ENT, radiology, family medicine, and research. We, the class of 2014, are not only the first graduating class of WCMCQ to get a 100% match rate. We are probably the first graduating class of any international medical school to ever get a 100% match rate, US match rate. What this means is that Weill Cornell Medical College in Qatar has once again made history, thanks first and foremost to the hard work and efforts of the class of 2014. This is great news. It's great news for our subsequent generations. It's great news for the nation of Qatar for taking its brave medical school experiment. And it's great news for international graduates everywhere worldwide. It is moments like these that make our long journey worthwhile. Seeing the proud smiles of our parents and the inspiration in the eyes of our loved ones is a treasure in itself. It is moments like these that we will forever cherish in our minds, memories, and hearts, and allow us to show the world that yes, we've done it. Which is why I really feel the need right now to update my Twitter and Instagram. However, I can see that most of you have done that already. If you haven't followed me yet, now is a good time to do so. God knows we need good news in this part of the world, no matter how small. 4 years ago, my older brother stood here giving his graduation speech, and since then, we have witnessed tremendous changes, not only within ourselves and our campus, but also within the face of our region as we know it. Locally, we have welcomed the new Ameer with pride and hope. However, our neighboring and home countries in the Middle East have faced the troubles and misfortunes of war. Our generation has taken on the historic burden of waging a fight for freedom and liberty that previous generations trembled at the mere thought of. Our generation has shown courage and sacrifice that is only found in books and the movies. As I speak now, women and children in my native country, Syria, try to seek shelter from the attacks of barrel bombs falling from the sky. As doctors and healthcare practitioners, we represent the ultimate force of hope and humanism, which is why our colleagues there were and remain the primary targets of the war. Because the practice of medicine and the power of healing carry a sacred message through the oath we take today. It is an oath to help people whenever we have the ability to do so, and never harm anyone no matter what the reason. It's an ancient oath that reminds us of what a privilege it is to practice the sacred science of medicine. So let us not forget that responsibility as we enter the world of medicine. Thus, every good cause mandates its own sacrifices, and medicine is certainly no exception, both for the generations passing down their knowledge and for the sprouting seeds watered by it. We've mastered our clinical skills with the guidance of our faculty physicians as they dedicated their time, energy, and patience for our learning. We learned anatomy with the grace of human beings who donated their bodies for the advancement of science. We learned our physical exam skills through the tolerance of patience as we fumbled through our first attempts, pretending to know what we were doing. As students, we invested sleepless nights, mental and emotional collapses, and an avalanche of requirements to become who we are today. We also invested a big fat tuition at the end of each semester. However, now that all that hard work is over, I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's going to become 10 times as hard. So congratulations. Luckily, we can finally expect to be truly rewarded for all our hard work. Every patient we have the privilege of caring for is a reward. Every thank you we receive is a permanent badge of honor. And every smile we draw on a hopeless face by itself makes the world a better place. Also, of course, we'll be receiving salaries for the first time for what we do. It might not be a lot at the outset, but don't worry, it'll only take 10 to 20 years until we can finally pay off our student loans. Over the past 6 or 7 years, we have seen ourselves at our best and our very worst. We've seen ourselves mature and grow tremendously as individuals. We discovered that we are home to incredible talents and skills with 34 doctors who, behind the textbooks and white coats, are also musicians, athletes in soccer, basketball, and cricket, filmmakers, published researchers, community builders, debaters, actors, United Nations consultants, and artists. We learned many valuable qualities. We learned acceptance, that no matter our differences or our backgrounds, we accepted each other as colleagues, cooperated together, loved each other, and became eventually very close friends to one another. And no, I'm not referring to our relationship with the textbooks. We learned tolerance. Tolerance through long hours of lectures that none of us ever skipped. Tolerance through the endless rounds of internal medicine. Tolerance through the harmonious symphony of crying babies in pediatrics. And we also generally developed tolerance to coffee. We learned adaptability from overnight calls in surgery, from taking 8 and 9 hour long exams and sitting in the same position for 6 weeks straight to study for them. You think I'm joking, I'm not. This will be you, second years. And we also adapted to the fact that social life in medical school is a myth, because there really is one thing we can do during our college years in Qatar, and that is having karak at tea time. We learned how to prioritize. We'll prioritize our education over everything else, including our hobbies, our weight, our physical appearance, and our significant others. Just kidding. We're medical students. We don't have significant others. Except, of course, for the class of 2014 that broke the record yet again with 6 married couples. Joking aside, we most importantly learned and slowly embodied true and genuine compassion and empathy, which I believe are key elements of true physicianship. A quality I see in the eyes of each and every single one of you. My friends, my colleagues, and my family over the past 6 years, the day has come. After a long and difficult journey, we have been prepared with the greatest weapon of all, knowledge. As of today, we are warriors for the care of our patients. And I urge you to never forget, not for a single moment, the true meaning of being a physician. And I quote Dr. Donald Berwick by saying, "Those who suffer need you to be something more than a doctor. They need you to be a healer. And to become a healer, you must do something even more difficult than putting your white coat on. You must take your white coat off. You must recover, embrace, and treasure the memory of your shared, frail humanity, of the dignity in each and every soul. When you take off that white coat in the sacred presence of those for whom you will care, and tower not over them, but join those you serve, you become a healer in an aching world that has never needed healing more. In this day, when healthcare has become a privilege and nations face starvation, genocide, and warfare, at a time where political corruption, military sieges, and economic crises deny the people's basic right to healthcare, we are entrusted with the hopes of all those who believe that good things could come out of our region, that things could take a turn for the better. As the new face of medicine, it is our duty to prove that altruism still exists. From now on, we are entrusted not only with the lives of others, but for the changing shape and nature of medicine itself. From now on, we can no longer blame misfortunes on the system. We have become part of it and must work very hard to make that system better. And with every step, we must remain true to our profession, generate new knowledge, and pass it on to the younger generations who will fill the seats we once filled. As of today, my friends, the torch has finally been passed on to us, and I am ever so certain that it has been placed in the right hands. Thank you and congratulations.
Yazan, that was wonderful. Really, truly inspirational words. So remember, the torch has been passed on. Before I administer Hippocratic oath today, I have to